Oh, hello, and welcome to It's Your Time, You're Wasting
I'm so
with.
sorry. I'm so sorry about. You can stop now, Martin.
Okay.
Martin was saying he was desperate to do Kenneth Williams
No,
as
I
the
was
intro voice,
not.
and I'm really sorry that you had to listen to that.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have to see the facial expressions as he was doing
No.
it. I mean, you did. Uh,
You have to do it through your
Listeners,
nose. It's very nasally. I've never done Kenneth Williams before, so that was my
it was very
first
good,
attempt.
Martin. It
I
was
need
very
to
good.
practice.
Anyway, Martin, Kenneth Williams Robinson, and me.
David Charles Hartree Dido.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would take me. I need to do
Charles
a bit of
Hawtrey.
research.
Hawtrey.
Hawtrey. Charles Hawtrey. I
Carry
can't
on.
do a Charles Hawtrey off the top of my head, but there's a great bit on Charles Hawtrey in David Seabrook's All the Devils Were Here, which is a fantastic read. If you've never read All the Devils Are Here by David Seabrook, the minute this episode finishes, get yourself down to your local bookshop and get a copy of that because it's superb.
You read it here and talking of books, David.
Books. Talking of books.
I've got to
we've got
try and find
a
where
treat
it is
for
now.
you.
Here we go. Where is it? Is it there?
Yeah,
it is.
look, this is my new book, co-written with Ricky Cole, Writing Fitness from Beginner to 5K. We weren't allowed to call it Couch to 5K Writing, intellectual property and all of that. But it's due out next month. It's available for pre-order. I am being sent my author copies today. I've been contacted by FedEx to let me know this. And I thought, Martin didn't have any thoughts about this. I thought it would be nice to give away a copy to a couple of our viewers. So the first two people to leave comments saying that they would like a copy of Writing Fitness on YouTube, and leaving some mechanism for them to be sent that copy. There's no point just wishing for it. You actually have to provide some means of contacting you to establish where you'd like it sent. Will receive a copy of Writing Fitness by David Didow and Ricky Cole. It's very good.
There we go.
That's it.
Okay, that's.
You can bring yourself back. Get rid of
in.
that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yes. So what do you mean by they provide some way of contacting you?
Well, we need an address to post it to. Yeah, they need to. They might not feel comfortable leaving their address on YouTube.
No, or their phone number. So what sort of or their email for that matter. So.
Okay, so they can. Yeah, no. I mean that's it.
I think they could email you, perhaps.
They could email me at ddidow@gmail.com. But they've also got to leave evidence of having left a comment on YouTube.
Well, they've got to leave the comment on YouTube,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah, that'll be it. That'll be the evidence. There's no point you just emailing me now and saying, I honestly did, if you didn't.
Yeah, we can trace it because it will be the comment that comes first.
Yeah.
Or second.
Well, I mean,
they could actually put the comment in and their name.
I mean, do you know what's going to happen now, though? Someone's going to email me and claim they left a comment that someone else left.
Yeah, that's the sort of low-down trick that some people, desperate people...
If they do that, they obviously really need a copy of the book, don't they?
So you ought to send them a copy anyway, because they're probably wanting to fill in a hole in their wall or something like that.
Could be.
The house is falling down.
Anyway, Martin, you spotted a tweet from James Melville this week.
Oh, did I? I did indeed.
Yeah, you did. You've got it to show
I have
the viewers. Yes, you have. I know you've got it.
God,
you sneaky devil.
Is it that one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Who is James Melville, Martin?
Now, you see, that's going to be very difficult.
We don't know, do we?
I think he's controversial, certainly.
Is he?
He does lead people to make comments about him at points. But yes, go on. There's his. Do you want to read it
out? No.
Okay, I'll read it out. Critical thinking should be a core part of the school curriculum, to which someone has replied, You're going to
Yeah, sorry.
you do that.
Okay, I'll do this. Last time you posted this platitude, I politely corrected you, says Will Mack, at Mr. Mac_math. You continue to share bad ideas about education. This does two things. One, it harms our effort as teachers. And two, showcases your own lack of critical thinking. There we are. So calling for critical thinking to be part of the school curriculum displays a lack of critical thinking.
There you go.
Is that right? Do we agree with Mr. Will_Mac?
There we go. Yeah, well, I
Or
mean...
Maths,
yeah.
or whoever he is. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know any of these people.
James Melville, apparently, by the way, is a communications and sponsorship consultant, campaigner and commentator, and he calls himself media personality. And,
bit like you.
Yeah. And let's see, he has 595.3 thousand followers on
Is he
X.
part? Is he?
X.
Is he part of the manosphere, Martin?
I think he's something on the right of the spectrum rather than on the left. So it's probably from a free speech sort of critical thinking sort of
Is
angle,
he Andrew Tate adjacent?
Well, you know, I don't know. I
watched
don't know
Louis Theroux's documentary Inside the Manosphere. Did you?
I
have you seen
haven't.
that?
Have you? Were you on it?
Yeah, I literally just said I did. Yeah, I wasn't lying.
No, were you on it?
Apparently, no, I wasn't on it. No, I'm not in the manosphere. I'm too girly. No, but apparently
that's why you're wearing pink.
They all do this.
Do they? Well, you're doing that.
I don't know.
So you must
I'm
be
doing
part
that.
of
Yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah.
Damn, I've fallen into the manosphere. God, it's so easy.
It is. There you go.
Yeah.
You see.
All you have to do is that, and you're a misogynist, Martin.
Right. Okay. So don't do that.
Don't do it.
No.
No, I recant
you did.
that. Yeah, I don't know what it means, but
You
it's
were
some
only
sort of...
illustrating it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
No.
Anyway, they all do that. So you watch out for that. If you see someone doing that...
That again.
Yeah, they're in the manosphere.
You've done it twice now. Look, in terms of critical thinking, should it be taught from... And it's interesting that there are people on the right and people on the left who think it should be taught as a subject in its own right or as part of every subject. This is what we're going to discuss today, isn't it? So, you know, we've started there. So off we go. I'm going to lean back.
Lean back. Yeah.
And listen to your elucidation.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, you might have a bit of a wait for that. So, I mean, the generous version here is nobody wants credulous students leaving school, sort of taken in by everything, sort of utterly incapable in the face of misinformation. But what are we thinking critically about, Martin? And what does it mean to think critically? And can we actually teach people to do that as some sort of generic, free-floating ability that can be applied anywhere and all the time? Or is it a bit more complicated and a bit more specialised than that?
I think we've got to start from the point of view of why this is perhaps a thing, particularly on the left and the right. And that is people, and I think it's Saint Augustine. I can't remember if this is right or not. So I know the quote's right, but I don't know if its attribution is correct. But you shouldn't send someone to school to learn what the teacher thinks. In other words, school should not be about brainwashing. And yet it can so easily slip into that. And people think that on the right, they probably worry about trans ideology or whatever, you know, that they think their kids are being given by these nasty Marxist left-wing teachers. And on the other side of things, it's, you know, colonialism. You're teaching them colonialism. You're teaching them the values of dead white men, etc., etc. So you've got the two left and right looking at what the power the teacher has to flood innocent minds, and that's the worry. And it, you know, and you look at places like Ukraine, and you go to eastern Ukraine where Russia have taken over the schools and of course brought in a patriotic Russian curriculum. And when you see things like that, it teaches the history of Ukraine in a completely different
Yeah,
way, because it's teaching it from the
of
Russian
course.
perspective and not the Ukrainian perspective. So,
What does it teach about Putin?
oh, what a wonderful man. He's probably
Yeah,
part of the manosphere.
is he sort of just topless and wrestling bears in it?
I think that's one of your dreams, perhaps.
Couldn't possibly comment. I found the Augustine quote, and it is Augustine. For who would be so absurdly curious as to send his child to school to learn what the teachers think?
There you go. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I wasn't too far off.
You didn't hallucinate that. No, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. No, and it's right, isn't it? So that lots of people, and I probably include myself in this camp, believe that to a certain extent schools exist in order to transmit cultural inheritance. But I certainly would object to the idea that schools should transmit an unthinking, slavish response to that cultural inheritance, that I would very much want children to be able to express a judgment and an informed opinion about what they think of it. Because, and I think this is the key bit, I don't think you can think critically about something that you don't know anything about. And the more you know about something, the more critically you can think about it. It's a bit like the discussion we had last week about creativity, that you've got to be creative about something. And I think that's the same as critical thinking. What do you reckon to that?
Well, there's two things, isn't there? Because there's the application of critical thinking tools, which most people call logic.
Logic.
And logic can be a
and
subject.
Rhetoric.
Well, that's another thing. Okay. We could come to the trivium at some point, but logic is a series of
we
rules
know wrote
for
a
thinking.
really good book about that, don't we?
I know someone who wrote a very good book about it. Yeah, I could.
Martin Robinson's Trivium to Anyone.
We want to do books.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at that.
Oh, it's a corker. Everybody.
Anyway, the thing about critical thinking, if you think about logic has been taught for centuries as a separate subject, as a subject in its own right.
Not latterly.
Not latterly, certainly in schools, and very rarely probably even in universities and things. Where it's subsumed by the topic of whether it be philosophy or mathematics.
Yeah, right, exactly. It gets my daughter, who's doing a liberal arts degree, did a module on logic as part of a philosophy course. Yeah,
and it's so it is tools of thinking. So if we do say that critical thinking can't be taught, I think we're wrong. Critical thinking can be taught if we're taking the subset logic.
Yeah.
The thing is, critical thinking that, again, you're thinking about might be different for different people. So it might be critical thinking is just criticizing everything, down with the bourgeoisie. Here we go.
Well, years ago, and I don't know if you'll remember this, I taught the critical thinking A level. Do you remember the critical thinking A level?
I think I probably have heard of it.
In fact,
it's sort of like a general studies thing as well. These sort of strange things that some people
so actually, it's not completely true to say I taught the A level. I taught the AS level. So it was a 1-year course, and so we talked about logical fallacies. And we talked about being able to discern the main argument from a piece of rhetoric, and sort of to disentangle fact from opinion, and it was really challenging. I remember on the papers, I think a third of the marks came from a multiple choice section, which you had to do a lot of multiple choice questions in a very short space of time, and they were really difficult. They were really, really challenging, and I remember my students really struggling most with that element of the course.
How did they get on?
Some of them did all right, some of them didn't. I taught it to a group of year 11s who would like as a sort of twilight after school.
That was
And
the year 11s. They wanted to do well and move on to sixth form and things like that, or was it
it wasn't
punishment?
really. It was. I said to the school I was working at that time, I quite fancy doing it. Can
Okay,
I offer it as a twilight elective to
to
anyone that
anyone.
fancies
Okay,
it?
okay.
And so a bunch of kids that fancied doing it came along after school one evening a week, and we did the best we could.
Oh. So,
I know.
in
So
answer to your question, you can teach critical thinking without a subset of knowledge that's attached to it,
Yeah.
except it's the knowledge in itself. I mean, what's the?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
contradicting
So
what you opened with? I'm not sure.
yeah. So do we mean to think critically about anything, or do we mean there is a subject which has elements of logic in there, which explores rational argument? And so you can teach that. Absolutely. You can make a course out of it, and you can assess people on it, and you can give them a grade. It's been done in the past. We could do it again. But can we teach people just to be critical, to know instinctively what's right and what's not, and to be able to disentangle
Right. So this is
fact from opinion and all the rest of it?
where it comes from left and right. Again, I think it is not about thinking critically. It may be disagreeing with them but agreeing with me. In other words, we have this sort of strange thing that when we say critical thinking on the left, it's, to show the underlying structure of oppression in society, and you want to bring that out. And on the right, it's to bring out the inner Marxist of your teachers and get them kicked out of school, get them cancelled, or something like that.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think as part of this, we need to explore a little bit about, the purpose of schools and what it means to educate. And one figure from history who was famously a bit of a critical thinker was your old mate, Socrates.
Yeah, it's his fault that probably this comes in. But
the gadfly himself.
Yeah. So he starts with the sort of assumption that he knows nothing. So the opposite of knowing stuff is to not know stuff. In fact, he famously wandered around the markets of Athens asking people who made assumptions that they knew stuff questions about the stuff they knew, to such a degree that by the end of the conversation, they knew nothing. He'd proved to them that they didn't know what they were talking about.
And people found this irritating.
They did find it very irritating. So much so they ended up killing him.
Killed him.
But so people don't like that sort of thing. But Socrates made a huge difference, because without Socrates, you don't end up with science. You don't end up with logic. You don't end up with all the ways of thinking that perhaps the West takes for granted now. And I say the West advisedly. But it's also the sort of stuff that annoyed a chap called Martin Heidegger, who loved Socrates in lots of ways, but thought he brought about calculated ways of thinking that actually sort of did away with being part of the world. And we can talk about that. But let's go back to Socrates. The important thing is that his idea of what the aim of education was not about accumulation of knowledge. It was, on a road to wisdom, probably. And the importance of living a good life. And so virtue and morality and ethics come into this. And these things can be explored as a group of people, and also individuals questioning what is known. And that is
so
important.
There's a sense, isn't there, where he wants people to believe that by acknowledging the limits of what they know, they then become open to genuine learning. But what is that? What are they learning? What is wisdom? How do you acquire wisdom if you know nothing?
Right. But now you've just done exactly what he would do. You've just asked some Socratic questions that you want to explore. So there you go. I mean, it's it's interesting
You don't want to answer them then?
No, well, you can't. You can't answer them in glib one-line sentences. You can't do it. That's the whole point. And if we live in a society where actually so much of mainstream media is about asking politicians, questions that can be answered in one sentence.
In the Kenneth Williams voice instead.
No. Matron. No. No, I'm turning into, oh dear, no, Frankie Howard, what would he say? Oh, no.
All right, okay.
And stop right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Socrates would say, well, he wouldn't. I mean, he wouldn't nowadays say anything because he's very notably dead.
And also, he'd be saying it in ancient Greek.
It's about self-examination. That if you don't examine yourself, you haven't really lived. It's the unexamined life is not worth living, is the famous quote.
Yeah.
So we need to question everything. So I think in terms of the ideal classroom situation, is a classroom where we can learn about facts. This is where the trivium comes in. We can learn about stuff, but you also want to be able to discuss that stuff, because the stuff you're learning, if it's glib and be learnt so easily, then is it worth learning? Yes, some of it is, absolutely. But you also need to have set your heights further than that and discuss things to which there are a range of answers or no answers at all, and take us into the subjective. What the humanities do, in fact, I suppose famously, is to take us into that realm where there are no easy answers. So there's a place for easy answers and a place for discernment, taste, discussion, opinion, and nurturing those to a level towards what we would call wisdom.
So critical thinking is more of a tool to use rather than a subject in itself in this view.
Yeah, so that sense, like you've come in there with a question, which is, what is blah blah blah? What is wisdom? What is this? What is that? So those sort of opening questions can be answered by anyone. But as a teacher, you would then keep that conversation going, and people would start to realize actually there's a lot more to this than perhaps they thought in the first instance. And that is the excitement of the inquiry, if you like, the philosophical inquiry. And that is Socratic. That is a Socratic approach.
So, and that's,
where does it get us? Does it pass a GCSE?
Right. So, and that brings us to the sort of back to that question about what school's for and why we have schools. And I think it's quite interesting to think about where they come from. Do you know about the origins of schools, Martin?
I know what I know about them, but what are you going to tell us about them?
No, tell us what you know.
Tell us about. I mean, I got a lovely story about grammar schools, but I'll leave that for later.
Well, I can go back a little bit further than that.
Yes.
I find this fascinating, that the earliest archaeological evidence that we have of the existence of schools is contemporaneous with the early existence. The first archaeological evidence that we have for the existence of writing. Yeah. And so we know that in ancient Sumer, there were institutions called eduba, or scribe schools, because as soon as you have something as complex as cuneiform to record on clay tablets stuff, then you have to teach people how to read and write it. And so children that wanted to be scribes would be sent to eduba, scribe schools, in order to learn. And we've got a bunch of cuneiform tablets that describe what these places were like. And whilst there are some obvious differences between modern schools and eduba, there are also some striking similarities. There was clearly a teacher at the front with rows of students, and the teachers would have set texts that children would have to use. There was a language of the classroom. So at the time, there are students who record the fact that they've been beaten for speaking in Akkadian instead of Sumerian, which is the language of the educated.
Quite right too. That'll learn.
Quite right too. Yeah, there was quite a lot of beating in eduba. and there was homework, and apparently there is even evidence that girls were taught as well as boys, but they were in schoolrooms.
As should be, of course, but
yeah, as should be, but has been pretty rare throughout history. So that's quite interesting, and I think
so. What you're connecting it to is the rise of writing,
the development of writing. Yeah. So before then, when you have an oral culture, that most of what children need to learn in order to become part of society, become part of the community, they can learn through immersion and imitation, and through watching their parents, through being apprenticed into a trade, and that works on a very successfully, and has them. But when you have specialized forms of knowledge which are culturally specific, then it's not likely that very many people will just pick those things up. And if we want people to learn them, then we need something like a school in order to make that possible. So we've got schools existing for maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years.
And of course, these things were not teaching the majority.
No, they wouldn't have been teaching everybody. They would only I'm sort of going outside my my knowledge here, but I think that those people that were deemed to be sufficiently capable of becoming a scribe were not the elite in the way that you might think. They weren't the sort of the richest, the most powerful people. They were very much in service to those people.
Right. So this is this sort of petty bourgeois of the time.
Almost. I mean, it doesn't really apply to when you're talking about such an ancient civilization.
Marx would be rolling in his grave in Highgate after me saying that, because I'm applying
what a lovely
capitalistic terms to pre-feudal society, But anyway, there we go. On that note, let's move on.
So in that view, schools exist because civilizations become too complicated to rediscover everything that's needing to be taught and known and learned.
Now, there is evidence that learning things through writing actually is cognitively richer than learning things through film. Learning the same thing through film, if you like.
Oh, is there? Tell me about that.
There's and now I've got to go and dig up the evidence. Unfortunately, I haven't got it to hand, but I'm just you've thrown this at me, it's my fault for bringing it in. But there is some evidence that reading is cognitively richer than watching something. And I don't know about listening. I'd be interested about whether listening to a book is the same as reading the book, and that would be, and about how all these things are measured, etc., etc. But film is also cognitively richer than not having the film, not watching the film. But one of the things I did send you was about gaming. The gaming is also cognitively rich as well, because the
computer gaming.
The theory is that you're having to take part in something rather than passively absorb something. So reading is something you actually take part in. You actually have to focus on and concentrate, and you work at it. And the same with gaming and things like that. So things you actually engage in and game with. So that says the knowledge isn't just the most important thing. It's the way you accumulate that knowledge, the way you absorb that knowledge also has an effect on your cognitive development.
Oh, really? Oh, it'd be quite good if you could find
I've got the gaming thing I sent you, but I can't.
No, it'd be good if we could put that into.
We could talk about it next time, perhaps.
Well, we could do that, and we could also put links in for people to explore them at their leisure if they're suitably interested. That
means they'd have to read, and they become more.
Well, they'd have to participate, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. So is that, if that is true, that schools are there in order to bring you into something beyond knowledge, beyond just the knowing. Yes, knowledge is important, but the way you learn that knowledge and then how you think about that knowledge and what you do with that knowledge are important. So it's not just knowledge.
No, No, it's not just knowledge. It's well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of interested in this evidence because it strikes me that maybe the knowledge is more important than how you accumulate it. But I could be wrong.
Well,
on that.
then we're saying that writing. Why then writing became the issue? Is it the knowledge that the writing had, or the fact that writing itself was difficult to read? I mean, to learn to read, to
Yes,
learn the
yeah, I
rules of
think,
grammar.
yeah, I think, yeah, such as they are when it comes to something like uniform. Yeah, and also they had to learn a different language. So the people at the time were speaking in, as I say, in Akkadian, and they had to learn to communicate in writing in Sumerian, and that wasn't what was spoken widely. It was a bit like, I guess, medieval Latin or something like that.
Yeah.
I've got a lovely quote here from Steven Pinker. He of what's
I don't think we need to explain who Steven Pinker is, really. Could we have to explain?
He's got lovely hair,
more
hasn't
than
he?
Steven Pinker is.
Yeah. No. Anyway, lovely quote here, and he says, "Education is a technology that tries to make up for what the human mind is innately bad at." I love the idea that school education in itself is edtech. I think that's it's a really nice idea.
To some extent, isn't it? I suppose if we have to, I mean, the pencil, the book, these are all tools, aren't they? So writing is a tool.
Yeah.
Reading
absolutely.
is therefore a tool to access writing.
So we've had, as I said, we've had schools in some form for a long, long time. And you can. Do you want to tell us a bit about grammar schools?
Yeah, well, if you must, but the idea that grammar is the foundational knowledge that you need, and if you take it, and you talked about medieval setup, so the idea was that back in the day we had Oxbridge and places like that people would go to, and they'd learn the trivium, the arts of the trivium, and people started to get fed up with teachers. Teachers like exciting lessons, and they got a bit fed up with teaching of the three arts of the curriculum, grammar. So they loved teaching rhetoric, they loved teaching dialectic or logic, but they got a bit bored of teaching grammar, so they set up places to teach grammar, and these were the first grammar schools. That was their job as part of the trivium. So you would then go on to the interesting stuff later on, but you'd learn all the boring stuff where you'd get. And if you go to Chartres Cathedral, you can see a great door on there, and they've got the liberal arts
personifications,
and they've got grammar there, and she's on a dais high above
with a stick,
with a book in one hand, which is probably a Bible or a Latin grammar, and in the other hand a weapon of mass instruction, no less.
A big stick.
Well, it's a bit more than that. It looks quite a nasty little implement, actually. For which, and the children cowering underneath her,
Quite right too. So obviously in these grammar schools, they didn't just teach what we now think of when we use the word grammar, did they?
Well, this is, in the medieval terms, what grammar was. It was foundational knowledge. So it was the knowledge you needed in what, we wouldn't think of as so broad nowadays, but it was a broad range of things they needed to know. So it covers Latin grammar, it covers grammar of that type as well, but it also covers the rules, the ideas, the thoughts that were brought together, the things you needed to know.
Listeners may know this, but I'm always delighted by etymological discoveries, and the origins of grammar are the same as the origins of glamour, and so gramarye was an old-fashioned word for magic, and you can sort of maybe imagine in a sort of largely illiterate society that those that could read and write almost seemed possessed of mystical power, which is a lovely idea.
And later as well, grandma. The idea of grandma and grandma's knowledge and things like this was tied up. So we have to get into grand-mère, and
I don't think that's the same. I don't think that's the same etymology.
It's not etymological, but it's used by. Okay. And who's the writer who wrote Madame Bovary? No, Oh, French
Flaubert.
geezer. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
Flaubert.
No,
Oh,
but it wasn't him. So I got to think of someone else.
oh.
Anyway, going back further.
He did
Let's
write
back
Madame Bovary, though. I was going to say Madame
He
Butterfly.
did write.
I don't think he wrote Madame Butterfly. I'm pretty
And
sure.
there's a lot of grammar in it. But there's
Yeah.
a character in there, I think, in Madame Bovary. But anyway,
I mean, there are
reflects-
various characters. Yeah,
There are definitely
Yeah.
characters in that book.
Yeah, there are for
That's
sure.
his biggest weakness, I think.
yeah.
Shouldn't use characters. It doesn't get you anywhere.
No. Yeah, poor old Madame Bovary. I can't remember her first name though. Anyway, yeah, she
Madam.
was Madam. Yeah, a great read.
Is it?
Yeah,
I hate it. I hate it.
did
I did
you?
three first pages, and he still hasn't stopped describing what she's wearing or something like that, has he? I don't
Oh, well, okay. I mean, maybe
It's well, this is
maybe
interesting
this
because
isn't
it's
the
a
time and place
non-visual
to talk
culture.
about Flaubert, but
But you
Yeah.
can't imagine those things without that description. Nowadays,
No.
we're quicker into because we have a richer
He's-
visual.
but he's
vocabulary.
also Flaubert's the guy that invents free indirect discourse, and so the way in which he describes was so innovative in that he was filtering it through the minds and the eyes of characters within the text that it had not been done before, and so he sort of had ushered in this revolution. Can you hear that beeping?
Yeah, I thought that was you.
No, it's my washing machine. It's beeping to say it's finished and I need to hang the washing. I'm just going to turn that off while we're... Oh, no, we don't want that carrying on.
And now we can look at the cups and things on David's shelves. There we go.
At the die-down backdrop. Yeah, so I'm sorry you hated Madame Bovary. I think
I
that...
had to read it when I was about 19 or 20.
I think you need to
older, sorry,
reread that.
22. I don't want to reread it. I don't want to reread and go through that hell. I've got other things to
No,
read.
I think you'd enjoy it now. I think it's worth it. Anyway, okay.
I'm being
so
critical, you see, with a lack of knowledge of that.
Yeah, you're what you're doing, Martin, is what kids do often, isn't it? When they say things like, "Oh, Shakespeare's a bit shit."
Yeah, but you say the same about football or opera or things like that, don't you? I mean,
Well,
we all
I
have
mean-
our prejudices. We're not.
We
sort
do,
of-
we do have our prejudices, and I'm casting. So I don't enjoy football, but I do
opera.
know
or
a
opera.
bit about it. Well, what Martin's alluding to is
Is you not liking opera?
No, I wouldn't even say that. I went to Glyndebourne last year to see. Which one was it, Martin? It was the one with
You went
My
to
Tiny
see
Hands
La Boheme,
Frozen.
by the way.
La Boheme, yeah. And I said to Martin, I found it a bit dull.
There you go. It's a bit Madame
found it a
Bovary,
bit-
wasn't it? A bit
and it-
Madame Bovary, mate.
And I really accept. I mean, that could be. Maybe it wasn't a very good performance. I don't know. I don't have any yardsticks to compare it with. But what I do know is that part of the dullness for me was it was a bit impenetrable, and I didn't know enough to appreciate it. And I think that's a really important
This
point.
is another thing about schools, and that is cultural knowledge and
Yeah.
opening up cultural doors for people to go through. But saying
Yeah.
that, you should retain the right to not like La Boheme. But the thing is, you don't know why you don't like La Boheme. And it's to
Right.
give you the language to be able to critique something does involve knowing a bit about something like that. So in order to critique opera, you need to know a hell of a lot about opera in order to do that, because you need the language to know why something isn't
Yeah.
appealing to you. At the same time, that whole world is then open to you, and you might find
You
that
might
you love
find
it,
that
actually.
you
The
might
same thing.
find that. You might find that, and it's really important. Yeah. So we've got another tweet that we saw that Martin saw this week that he sent me and said, "Oh, we could talk about
Did I?
this."
Did I see this?
Yeah, the Einstein one.
Oh, no. That's
Oh,
not that one.
Martin.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, Martin. And honestly, we had. Really? Can you
dear,
not?
dear. No, I can. I'm sure I can. I'm just trying to.
Okay.
Here we go. I've got to
Well-
bring this down to here now. There it is.
The trials. Have we got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
It's really we got there in the end.
Can you read it out for those who are listening to us?
I was in fact doing that.
There's a picture of Einstein done by AI, as far as I can work out.
Oh yeah.
So look at his hands. Look as though they belong to.
Oh my goodness. He's got an awful lot of fingers.
Yeah. 10.
Anyway, a tweet from @Vala Afshar. Imagination is more important than knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
For knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. And apparently Albert Einstein said that. There's a huge cottage industry in fake Einstein quotes, so I don't have a lot of confidence necessarily in the provenance of that quote. I haven't actually looked that one up and researched the extent to which it's true.
AI. Yeah.
We'd look it up on AI or even the internet.
Well,
there's a great. I always go to Quote
on.
Investigator is one of my favourite sites. I love it for exposing.
It'd be amazing if it was
Einstein
taken over
quotes.
by people who wanted to get their favourite quotes in.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. So imagination, and this is, I guess, adjacent to the creativity discussion that we were having before. So knowledge, not that important. There are more important things. Imagination is more important.
Yeah, and again, he could be. I mean, who is to doubt? Apart from whether he said it or not, who is to doubt? Who is to doubt?
This guy
who knows a hell of a lot, but knowing a hell of a lot and then being imaginative with it is important. Yeah. But there is, and this is the dull person debate. How much do you need to know before you can imagine? How much do you need to know before you can critique? How much? And is there a finite amount? Because you can know one hell of a lot and be extremely dull and, and not contribute enough or much or anything else. And the idea is, and this is from the left historically, that a lot of kids come out of schools and they're fodder for the sort of petit bourgeois workplace, that they're not going to cause trouble, they're not going to create anything, they're not going to do anything beyond the straight and narrow what they're expected to do for
what they're
30,
told to do
40 years in the workplace and get their watch on retirement and keep quiet until they die. And that sort of thing that, it's a depressing view of what humanity is, but that sort of worker bees. You
love it, don't you?
Worker bees. We're creating worker bees, and that's what schools are for,
So, and obviously, not many people are open about if they do continue to support that view now. I think most people would say that isn't what they think schools are for. I don't think I've never encountered anyone sort of defending that position.
No one would say that.
But do you think they think
no one would say that? But
I think in the past people might well have said that.
Okay, so but if you're just saying, right, what we want are GCSE results, good GCSE results. That's what our school mission is to drive everything towards good GCSE results, because that will get our kids jobs or into university and get us good Ofsted grades. That's our entire raison d'etre. Now, you push that through. That's it. It's very mechanistic. It's very unimaginative, if you like. It doesn't breed the other parts, which are fuller education that perhaps people would pay for, the playing fields of Eton, etc., and that these are the places where a richer education is found, because it costs a bloody lot. That's one of the other things. But actually, just having a sort of narrower view of education that fill them up with knowledge, and I'm using that advisedly, fill them up, and set them into the world ready to, AI has taken all their jobs and now they can't even do that. So God knows what their future is.
Well, they're going to need imagination, aren't they?
They're going to need imagination to... Can AI imagine? It can't draw very well at the moment.
Well,
It's
so
getting better. It's
interesting.
getting better.
Yeah. Well, that Einstein picture isn't great evidence of that,
No,
is it?
it's
But for the first time ever, I asked it to draw a diagram this week, which wasn't shit.
you asked them to draw one that wasn't shit. You were asking AI to do
I asked
something.
it to draw what? I asked it to do something, which was to draw a diagram. Normally, it bungles that task horrifically, and it didn't. So
it's
maybe
learning.
they are getting better. Well, who knows? But here's a potentially contentious thing to say about imagination. Okay, so you asked
You look like Patrick Moore then.
I know,
Very good impression.
So you asked whether AI can imagine, and I think the consensus is no, it can't. It can't imagine. And what do we mean by imagining?
Go back to a
So
Socratic question, folks.
Yeah, I know. No. But I'm gonna present an answer to that, because I think often what many people mean when they think about imagining is to be able to sort of to think of things which have not been thought of before. And the slightly contentious thing I'm going to say is that nobody, AI or human, can imagine something that they've got no knowledge of.
Right. Okay.
So, I remember someone saying to me once, like, oh, of course you can, because you can imagine things that don't exist. Like, what about, and their example was mermaids.
Yeah.
And to imagine a mermaid, you've got to know about 1, women, and 2, fish.
And
if you
3,
don't know about
3, mermaids.
Well, the mermaid is a combination of knowing about fish and knowing about women. Yeah, you can now, because it's a thing which exists in our collective imagination, that people, draw pictures of them and make TV shows out of them. But the first person to imagine a mermaid knew about women and knew about fish, and thought, oh, I've just seen something which is a combination of the two. And they'd imagine this thing based on the extent of their knowledge, that nobody can imagine something which is completely outside of the knowledge they possess.
And also, there are moments where sudden breakthroughs are made, though those breakthroughs probably have some sort of...
they're based on the slow accretion of lots and lots and lots of items of knowledge.
Yeah, and what's important there is that a lot of imagination, creativity, culture itself is through the conversation, the great conversation. It is not an individual process. It's a group process. You're not educating individuals in that sense. You're educating humanity. And what schools are important for as well is bringing people together in buildings, in places, to learn together. And that thing about conversation and everything else, literally conversation, but also learning together and being able to, the cut and thrust of debate and discussion and thinking together on an international scale, that, with ways that it's done through cultural exchange, and I don't mean just cultural exchanges by people going from one country to another. But
pen pals, bring back pen pals.
But through this whole thing, where Emily Dickinson says the brain is wider than the sky, I think she's wrong. I think it's the mind. The mind is wider than the sky. It's not individual brains. It's about how we all come together, which is through the mind, because the mind is made outside of the brain. A lot of it.
I think what we'd say, or what we should say, with respect to Emily Dickinson, is that she's wrong, but that she's using a metaphor.
Yes,
Martin. I think that's what we should say. It's poetry.
Yeah,
it's poetry, dear.
But if she wanted to write it, stop patronising her. If she wanted to write it again, which I think she probably won't,
she might,
for obvious reasons, she'll put down the mind is wider than the sky.
Maybe she would.
That's what she meant,
because the brain, in a literal sense, clearly not very wide. It's like that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
that, isn't it?
Yeah,
not very wide.
But the mind is what I mean. So the thing about critical thinking, the thing about that is part of the mind. The way we all think about things is that it's imbued in certain cultures, and it's imbued in what we again loosely call Western culture. In North Korea, it isn't.
Wow, no, and so that neatly, Martin, that's your take on Western culture there, takes us to yet another tweet that we want to share, which Martin will probably have lost.
Yeah, you got a little glimpse of it earlier as I was desperately looking for...
I did. Oh, okay. I was looking away. So this is from the Athenaeum Book Club. And the Athenaeum Book Club... sadly, our logo's over part of that. Can you slide it across a little bit so that it's?
I can do all sorts of things, and again.
Amazing! There we are. So now it obscures both of us. So they say if schools and universities refuse to teach the great books, because that's what schools and universities are doing, we'll do it ourselves. And so they say we're about to start our 12th book together at Athenaeum, and our first Dostoevsky novel. They're going to read Crime and Punishment, which I was telling Martin, I suppose similar to Martin's crack at reading Madame Bovary, I read Crime and Punishment when I was about 14. I used to do this thing. It's a shocking admission. I used to truant school. Can you believe that?
In order to read Crime and Punishment.
In order to read, I would truant school, and I would go to Birmingham Central Library, and I would read books.
You think the librarian would spot you there in your little school uniform?
I know. Well, it was massive, and I would honestly, I got away with it.
The conkers in your pocket.
that wasn't conkers.
Oh my God!
I was just pleased to see the librarian.
No! You horrible little 14-year-old scruffy boy. I'd throw you out.
I used to go, and it was massive. It was a massive place, Birmingham Public. It doesn't exist anymore in the same, the building. They knocked it down, built a nice new one. But it was this huge, great edifice, and I could go and hide in there and read books. And one of the books that I read was Crime and Punishment at about 14. I didn't understand much of it.
Okay, look, can I just ask you a question here?
Put the image back up. Put the image back up. It's really good. Let's talk about some of these books.
Yeah. Can I just ask you a question? When you're saying about schools and the importance of schools, and it's bringing you to tears, clearly.
I know.
Is it you were truanting school to learn more than you would have done at school?
I know.
Is that possible? Is that what it was about?
When I finally got
truancy
busted,
is the way forward for education.
Well, look, careful. When I finally got busted, I remember my head of year saying to me, "You're throwing away your education." And even then, at the time, I was thinking, "I'm not sure that's quite right." Anyway, I'm not advocating truancy. It's
well, it's an interesting. This is a Socratic question. No,
and also, I think my approach to truancy was pretty niche. I'm not sure many boys and girls who are not going to school are going to the library to read. But anyway, I did. A bit of a weird, sad case, I guess. But they've got here...
you too could be an English teacher if you tried this.
I know,
by reading books.
I know. So they've got 12 books here that they say schools and universities are refusing to teach. What have we got on here? We've got Dante's Inferno.
That's a hot
Hamlet.
book.
It's boiling. The Divine Comedy. We've got Hamlet. Fairly frequently taught in schools for A level.
I don't. It's not now. It's Macbeth, isn't it? Most of the time. But
anyway. At GCSE it is. Yeah, for sure. But it's not a good choice.
Too long.
Hamlet
to teach.
is
in schools.
What else? We've got the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Odyssey I put on the Year 7 curriculum. I love it.
Can I just say, just a thing, do they have to read the whole of the Odyssey in Year 7?
Wow. So what even does that mean? Do they have to read it in ancient Greek? No, obviously not.
Well, I didn't say ancient Greek. I said the whole thing.
So the whole thing. So the whole of what? So the
whole of the Odyssey
my preferred adaptation, translation, version of the Odyssey, the one that we put on the curriculum. Yes, Simon Armitage. So do they have to read all of that? Yes. But yeah, they do.
Or they get hit.
But interestingly, in his version, he doesn't do the last 4 books of the Odyssey.
So there's 4 books he doesn't do.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't do the last 4 books where the for those of you not familiar with the story of the Odyssey, the suitors who he's killed off, people know about that. Odysseus comes back, slays the suitors.
We're losing people now.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, look, in the last 4 books, the suitors' families declare war on Ithaca, and they all come to take it out on Odysseus, and it all seems
you have to tell us what happens
standoff.
before you tell us what happens after.
Okay, I can't be bothered now. You've spoilt it. Anyway, do they have to read the whole of the Odyssey? Depends what you mean. So, Don Quixote. I've never seen that in any kind of school setting. That would be a tough one to do. It's quite long as well. The Abolition of Man. You said you'd read it. I haven't read any.
I've read bits of it about his views on culture. I mean, it's a series of essays.
Yeah,
as is Confessions by Augustine.
Yeah, I haven't read that either. I've read The Count of Monte Cristo. I read that, a couple of years ago. I loved it. It's wild. It was nothing like the sort of filmed versions that I've seen. The bit where, he's sent to prison and sort of has to escape. Like, that's in it, but it's a tiny, tiny bit of the story, and it's absolutely bonkers. It's a wild ride. And I would commend it to people who...
As is Don Quixote tilting at windmills, etc. And all
yeah, Don Quixote's great. I really like Don Quixote. I haven't read that for a long time, but...
and again, it depends on which translation as well, a lot of these things. I mean, these things wouldn't be taught in an English school.
as well, Machiavelli.
A lot of these aren't English curriculum. Wow. They wouldn't be an English literature curriculum, would they?
And the Aeneid, I studied as part of my classical studies A-level.
Hey ho!
In fact,
I've got
my. Yeah, this is great. I've been reading this.
It's funny that Virgil couldn't spell Virgil.
Couldn't he? I'm not sure what you're talking about there.
How do you spell Virgil?
How do I spell it?
V-I, isn't it? Anyway, go on.
You don't think he spelt it with an E? I don't know.
No, it's like Shakespeare spelt his name different ways.
Shakespeare famously couldn't spell his own name. Yeah, what an idiot. We've got 5 specimens of Shakespeare's signature. Each of them is spelt differently, and none of them are spelt the way we spell it.
And did he die on the same day as he was born, which is St. George's Day?
Near enough.
They say he went out and got pissed, celebrating his birthday, and died of it.
Who says that?
Me.
Who's they?
Me. They say. Me, I just said.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
You should say, I say. Yeah, no, I don't think that's true. I mean, who the hell knows? Nobody cares.
Oh, okay. Well, you care.
I mean, it's nice, isn't it, that we've got him born and dying on the same day. I'm sorry for wiping my nose. I was telling Martin at the beginning, I've got a chlorine allergy, and
he's drowning in water.
I know, and I keep going swimming, and it's shocking.
Yeah,
for me.
I should
just stop swimming.
Yeah, that's the way to cope with it. Oh.
That's the way to cope with a chlorine allergy. Don't go or swim in the sea. That's what I should
swim
do.
somewhere there's no chlorine. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, so because schools and universities are refusing to teach the Western canon, you can join in with the Athenaeum Book Club.
There you go. And that's online, apparently. And again, it's probably from the political right. So if you're on the political left, you might want to be critical of the whole idea of it.
Yeah, get in and tell them that they should be reading, I don't know, The Hate You Give or something.
There we go. We should come. We seem to be coming to a sort of
a natural end. We've run out. We've got other things which we've got stuff we can say, but we don't want to say it. No, we don't. Look, we've wasted enough of your time. It has been yours. Now it's ours. Thank you once again for bearing with us. We appreciate it.
We keep forgetting to say like and subscribe.
And yes, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. You could win a book.
And definitely do that. Okay. Take care. See you next time.
Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Oh
no. Oh dear, matron. Oh dear, no.